So I wanted to have one video on YouTube, Japanese perspective, but in English.
What do you think are the good and bad things about living in Japan? Minasan konnichiwa, and welcome to Let's Ask Shogo. And today I have a very special guest, Takashii. Yes, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
We actually did a collaboration video once on your channel.
Years ago.
Couple
when I was
years
a
ago.
student, yeah.
Exactly, that's right. And this occasion, he actually came to Kyoto again to make another video with me. And I thought this time I would be able to actually interview the interviewer. I make a lot of videos talking about Japanese social problems and such.
Exactly, yeah.
And you've interviewed hundreds of people, talking
Hundreds,
about their
yeah.
experiences and talking about social problems, their backgrounds and such. And I really want to hear your opinions about Japan because a lot of people watching my channel want to actually come to Japan, live here, study here and such. And I want to hear your opinions about how you can help those people out in the future.
Okay.
So it'd be great. In this video, I asked Takashii 4 questions about his job as an interviewer and information you must hear if you hope to stay in Japan. There's so many things that only he, who has interviewed thousands of people, can tell you. So be sure to watch this video all the way to the end. By the way, I'll show up in one of his videos too. So I hope you can jump to his channel and check out that as well. それでは本日も参りましょう。How many people have you actually interviewed in the past?
I think thousands.
Thousands of people, not even in
so,
Japan,
yeah.
but also overseas, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I tried to interview 50% Japanese, 50% non-Japanese people. So that's why my videos is sometimes it's all English, sometimes it's all Japanese. And then I wanted to use my advantage to be able to speak English and Japanese, right? So, because when I interview only Japanese people, I don't really give much of from foreign perspective living in Japan. And sometimes there are many problems for foreigners that Japanese people don't really see, don't really find. Let's say like finding an apartment or opening a bank account, everything. Like I didn't know that how difficult it was until I actually talked to non-Japanese people who live here. So yeah, that's why I make videos, in both languages,
Like you go overseas too, right? Like how many countries have you been to so far?
I said 20.
20 is a
Yeah,
lot.
I think 20 countries, in total,
Yeah, and you've been interviewing people overseas who are Japanese, right? Like live in different countries and Japanese and such too. That's amazing.
Because I think people have the perspective, the stereotype that Japanese people don't really speak English, not international that much. I think it's true. I would say 95% of Japanese people living here are like that. But there are also many cool people, cool Japanese people, like who have experience living abroad, who have like, international perspective as well. So I want to show that side of Japan as well. So yeah, especially I'm living in Tokyo, so it's so easy to find those kind of people.
What's the interview that you did in the past that you remember the most? That's the biggest impact on you.
So it was a little bit controversial, but last year, August, I went to Hiroshima and I interviewed the atomic bomb survivor. She was 95, 96, 94, The reason why I wanted to make that video is as a Japanese person, grew up in Japan. Every summer, every August, Japanese media, they show a lot of what's happening at the war, especially like atomic bomb, like Hiroshima, Nagasaki, those kind of things. Like, so Japanese people know a lot about it, but I was thinking, it's Japanese people are not the only ones who should know about this, right? It's the rest of the world, people need to worry, right? And I was thinking, okay, I'm the good one to do that. I'm in the position that I can do that.
Yes.
Because I have foreign audience, I also get the opportunity to interview someone like her, right? So I was planning to, I did that, but it was really difficult because I have American audience most likely, like 40%, 30%. So I really need to be careful about it. So it shouldn't be too political. My channel needs to be neutral as much as it can. The way I ask her questions, the way I did interview was a little bit different from other interviews because I didn't ask her what she felt. I asked her what happened to her in 1945. And that's one reason why it was hard. But also, I needed to ask the most painful moment of her life. But that was my job. I needed to do that. There are some moments that it was difficult to continue interviewing because her expression, everything. Basically, she lost her sisters and her brother and many people that day, specifically that day. So it was hard. It's hard to interview someone like her because when I decided, okay, I need to make this video, it took ages to convey someone who have experienced that, and especially when I tell them I have foreign audience, I have American audience, and they will say, everyone said no. Yeah, that was hard, but that was good opportunity. Then that was my first time to visit Hiroshima and to see Atomic Bomb Museum and everything. So that was first time for me to think like seriously about this topic as a Japanese person. Of course, I knew what was happening, everything from textbook, from classes, but from me, I never did that. I never had chance to think that problem or the topic seriously. So that was a good opportunity as well. That was the moment I felt, okay, I like this job because not just because I can make money, not just because I improve my English, but also I get to know my own country by having foreign followers.
What was your responses from your audience though, that video you interviewed with the lady from Hiroshima?
99% was positive. I wouldn't say it was positive. It was more like they showed me that they understood. Yeah, I think it was more like I feel sad for her, stuff like that. The common comments were like, oh, we need to see more kind of stuff because there are many videos about atomic bomb or there are many videos about World War II in Japanese for Japanese people, but not in English. If it's English, it's usually from American perspective. So it's a little bit different. So I wanted to have one video on YouTube, Japanese perspective, but in English. But yeah, people are okay with that because I really tried my best to be neutral. And still, if you see that video, you don't think, okay, America is bad or Japan is bad. It's not bad that. So yeah.
Because I'm a person who was brought up in Hiroshima, and I think growing up in Hiroshima, you take a lot of those classes. Every year, if you grow up in a school in Hiroshima, there's usually be an A-bomb survivor that comes to your school to do like a speech for you. I think that's something that only happens in Hiroshima or Nagasaki, I think. So I had a lot of those experiences personally, and I've never been taught that we need to, like, for example, hate another country or hate another group of people. It's more about learning about the facts of what happened. And the A-bomb survivors themselves, the people at least I've met over at least 10 people in my life, A-bomb survivors, but they hardly ever talk about their grudges, for example, or their hate towards other people because they understand what Japan did too in the past, of course. You can't, when a war happens, you can't say that one side is completely bad, one side is completely bad. One thing we can say is that it's humans, is that we definitely shouldn't rely on A-bombs, these weaponry anymore. That's one thing, as not because we're Japanese, not because someone is American, as people who wants to live peacefully and we want a brighter future, we need to learn what happened in the past to try to avoid it from happening again. So yeah, I think that's a very interesting interview that you did. So interviewing those thousands of people, I want to ask you, what do you think are the good and bad things about living in Japan?
So Japan, personally, I think it's one of the best countries to live in. And not just because I'm from Japan, also have experience talking to many people from abroad. And also I have experience going many countries. Like let's say I was in the States in January for a month. And I was trying to not just traveling, but also like see what's happening there. And good points of living in Japan, there are three things I would say. The major three things. It's typical, but safety, convenience, and the price. So safety, as people know, Japan is a very safe country, and especially compared to Western countries at the moment, like Europe and the United States, what I've seen is getting worse. It's so nice that you can leave your place at 11 p.m. not thinking about it at all. Then you can put your headphone and just walk around, and you don't need to be with someone else, which is something that you really cannot do many countries in the world at the moment, right? And then second, convenience. So not just convenience stores, but also, let's say when you have problem, the next day it's solved. Let's say if I have a problem of the gas at my place, when I call the owner or the apartment, next day it's fixed. Something like that, and then that something, you don't really get in other countries. Sometimes you need to wait a week or something. Even Amazon as well. Like if I order something Amazon, tomorrow morning it's there at my place. So something like that, And the price, it's obviously, it's relatively cheap compared to the United States. And especially the reason why I'm saying that is I have friends living in like United States, living in UK. They need to find someone else to move in the new place,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
roommate. That concept, we don't have that. We don't need to have that, you know,
Exactly.
because you can have your own apartment, your own shower room, your own bathroom, your own toilet, everything. Even in Tokyo, even central Tokyo, you can do that with the average salary, right?
Yeah.
But when I talk to my friends in the States or in the Western country, most of the time they say like, oh, I need to find somewhere else to move in, you know, because I cannot afford the price, even though it's not fancy place, it's just normal apartment. Yeah, so I would say those three things. So I think, relatively speaking, Japan is such an easy country to live in. But I wouldn't say it's an easy country to move to.
Okay.
Because at the same time, I have friends from the States, they're struggling to come here because visa or, you know, like opening bank account, renting for foreigners. But okay, renting in Japan for foreigners, people say that it's difficult. And I'm sure it is. It's 100% it's difficult compared to other countries. But it's not just foreigners. I think it's just, in general, it's difficult for people who don't have stable job, who don't have stable income. So I'm a YouTuber, so I don't have stable income. Even now, I live by myself, I pay my rent, but under my dad's name.
Oh,
Yeah, because
really?
I needed to ask my dad to sign all the stuff because
Seriously?
they don't trust me, right? So yeah,
Really?
just in general, it's difficult. But specifically, it's also difficult for foreigners, yeah. When I was in the States, I needed to think a lot of things. Especially if you're in Tokyo or major big cities in Japan, you don't need to have a car. If you have a car, it's gonna be inconvenient. You know, when I was in Los Angeles, I would say I was kind of annoyed. Like every time I left my hotel, I need to call the Uber. And it costs like $30, $40 at least every time. And that's not something that you need to do in Japan. Like 5 minutes walk, there's a train station, so.
What kind of advice, though, would you give to people who are hoping to come to Japan to study or work or
live here?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And considering all the complaints that you probably heard from people you interviewed and such, what should they look out for? What should they be careful of?
It's typical, but I think it would be great if you can spend a little bit of time on learning Japanese, because still not many people speak English here, and you cannot blame Japanese people to not be able to speak English because it's Japan, right? It's not just your life gets easier if you live in Japan if you speak Japanese, but also I think your life in Japan would be more meaningful if you speak Japanese, even if it's not fluent level. If you travel some other prefecture from where you live in Japan, you cannot talk to locals. You basically lose opportunities to get to know the country or to get to know where you live. If you speak the language, you get to know more about the culture and the people. I think there are two types of people who are coming to Japan. Some of them are really respectful, really like do some research and everything. But sometimes I feel like maybe you don't need to care that much. Lots of my friends saying, "Oh, is it true that you cannot eat while you're walking and stuff like that?" Like, yeah, maybe, but like Japanese people do, and you don't really care about it. So that's type of people. So for me, if you think you care enough about Japanese culture and manners and everything, maybe you can be chill a little bit more. You can,
relax.
you can enjoy more. You don't need to worry too much. If you think you don't really know much about Japanese culture and enough and everything, maybe you should be respectful, but don't worry too much for me. Yeah, that's my opinion. Like, of course, it's better to be respectful. It's better to be thoughtful. But at the end of the day, Japanese people don't see you as a local at first. And lots of my friends told me that, and I think it's true. No matter what happens, no matter how good your Japanese gets, even if you get Japanese citizenship, people are gonna see you as a non-Japanese person. So it's good and bad, right? And good, let's say, if you happen to break the rule, if you're not Japanese, I don't think you get judged as much compared to Japanese people. But point, maybe you feel you're not gonna be in the society, you're not gonna be in the, like blending the society.
Feel left out.
Left out, yeah. But Tokyo, when it comes to Tokyo, you don't need to fear about it because Tokyo is so international. So it depends where you go. But don't be a type of foreigner who's in gaijin bubble. Okay, so in Japan, let's say in Tokyo, maybe they have in Osaka as well, but there's a word called gaijin bubble. And it's basically meaning foreigner bubble, right? And I have a lot of friends who's been in Japan 10 plus years and don't speak really Japanese, don't really have Japanese friends. Even if they do have Japanese friends, they usually speak English.
Okay.
So it's not like, local Japanese friends anymore. So it's such a shame. Like, if I go to the States, I don't want to be with Japanese people all the time, I want to be in American people, because what's the point, coming to Japan now? Maybe it's different if the company send you to Japan. Maybe it's a little bit right, but if you decided to come to Japan to live here, it's strong word, but I think it's such a shame to be in that environment. And of course you feel comfortable because you don't need to worry about the language, like everything. But like Japan is full of entertainment, and then Japan is full of joys. You can explore more. That's the reason why I'm saying you don't need to be fluent, but I think at least you need to show your effort that you're trying to speak Japanese. So I'm saying learn Japanese, but I don't expect you to be fluent Japanese. That's not the point. I think it's more like it's part of the being respectful, right?
Yeah.
You need to show the effort. And also I have Japanese friends who don't speak English at all. So I have both perspective, right? I have foreign perspective because I interview people and I have foreign friends as well. But I also have Japanese perspective because I have Japanese friends like from school and everything.
Of course.
And they said that sometimes they feel scared or they feel a little bit afraid of foreigners talking to them because firstly they speak my friends in English. But maybe first you can say like konnichiwa or sumimasen in English, and then you can ask like eigo hanashimasu ka, which means like do you speak English? If you say that in Japanese, even if you cannot keep the conversation after that, it's still like I think their reaction will be different. You don't need to be fluent, but learn Japanese to be able to talk to people in Japanese, and it's not difficult. That's my advice.
The first few steps won't be that
Yep.
difficult. Yeah, I personally would recommend people to join communities too. When they come to Japan. Because I think maybe in one of my live streams or something, my advice that I gave them was absolutely because I do a lot of stuff to try to start training in a Japanese traditional culture. And then you really you have to be in a group of Japanese people.
Right.
And especially because they're training something traditional, you really get to learn about the culture and the history about it too. So, like for example, if you're interested in martial arts, maybe starting taking part in a dojo, for example, learning tea ceremonies or traditional dancing or whatever it is. I think that would be a good challenge for you. You absolutely have to speak Japanese, and you get to learn something new. And you actually, even if you go back to your country at some point, you have a skill that you actually obtain. So I think that would be something that I would recommend too.
I think it's all about balance because you need to have both. I think you need to have Japanese friends who cannot speak English, but also you need to have foreign friends. So I wouldn't say like, okay, don't make foreign friends because you're in Japan. It's all about balance, right? Because there are some problems or there are some feelings that you cannot share with Japanese people because they are from Japan.
Okay.
Finding apartment or let's say opening a bank, these difficult parts of living in Japan as a foreigner. Even if you share that to Japanese friends, maybe they wouldn't understand that much compared to your friends from your home country. So you need to have both to not to be depressed.
True, exactly.
Not to feel lonely.
Well, I guess I have just one more question, maybe.
Yep.
What do you think is the most overrated thing about Japan, especially for people?
Cherry blossom.
Cherry blossoms, okay. For people who haven't been to Japan yet, the most overrated thing is cherry blossoms?
For me, like cherry blossom is, of course, it's beautiful, but I don't get why people, make itinerary just for cherry blossom. I have a specific reason. Okay, so why cherry blossom is beautiful? It's not because it's beautiful. It's because throughout the year, you see the same tree every single day, and just one moment in a year, it's pink.
Beautiful, gorgeous.
It's bright.
Yes.
Right? If you see the tree only when you come here, that's not the point for me. For me, like just because
interesting.
1年の中にこの瞬間だけ咲くっていうその儚さがあるからこそ美しいのであって、それを1年間同じ木を見てないとその感情にはなれないと思うんですよ。思うんですね。なんか観光客がその時に来てその木の他の状態を見ないでここだけを見てもなんか儚さとかっていうのを感じることができないんじゃないかなっていう。I mean, but still, like regardless cherry blossom, March, April is one of the best season to come to Japan. Anyway, so I would come here. It's either March, April, May, or maybe October, November. Those months are the best. I would do that.
I personally think the most overrated thing about Japan is like the technology. You know, a lot of people say that Japan is still high tech, but recently I don't think that's true anymore. In the past, like maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, maybe Japan was considered high tech, you know, the future of the world and stuff like that, but I don't think Japan's that anymore in the case.
I think technology in Japan, it's also, I think it's overrated as well.
Yeah,
but the reason why I'm saying that is that it's not on our daily lives. It's more like something tourist destination.
Exactly.
Like robot cashier or everything, or like, you know, like the hotel that only have a robot, and those kind of things. It's more about entertainment, not the things that can improve our daily lives, right? Because there are so many cash-only restaurants, and I still get annoyed by that. Yeah,
True.
And then we don't have Uber either. Yeah, that's why you need to wait in Kyoto station for long. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
this
so
interview,
much.
Takashii. Thank you so much.
I might have another chance to interview Takashii again in the future, so if there's anything else you want me to ask him, please let me know in the comments. I'll see you in my next video. 皆さんどうもありがとうございました。Interested in training katana skills from anywhere worldwide with Let's Ask Shogo? Join the Yushin online lessons to learn how to perform the cool and unique EI techniques from modern-day Musashi, Isumi Sensei. I, Shogo, a third-dan trainee of the style myself, will be your interpreter to explain everything perfectly in English for you. Every lesson will be recorded for you to rewatch anytime, and official dan ranks will be provided to prove your progress. Check out the description box or pinned comment to sign up now and for more information.